Hi, I'm Genevieve from North Carolina, and I have a great story to tell you about my best friend. But first, don't forget to like and subscribe. Ever since we were little, my best friend Olivia and I have been inseparable. We were more like sisters than friends, spending all our time at each other's houses. It was when we were 10 years old that the story really began, although it would take us years to really understand how the pieces fit together. We were playing in my room one day, and when Olivia went to the kitchen to get some water, I thought it would be funny to jump out and scare her when she came back. So I hid behind my door, and when I heard her coming, ah! She screamed and I laughed. And then I saw the glass of water fall. Olivia! She collapsed beside the puddle on the floor. At the hospital, we learned that she had a rare heart condition. There in the hospital, I vowed to never let anything hurt her again. Don't worry, sis. I will protect you. Always. We went to the same schools growing up, and by high school, she had become incredibly beautiful. Yet there was always something fragile about her, breakable. It caused her to be shy, more reserved, rarely speaking up for herself. So I did it for her. When she collapsed sophomore year in gym class, I carried her to the nurse's office. When a group of mean girls decided she would be an easy target, I protected her. Even in my room studying, I was always watching over her, making sure she would be okay. I still had that picture in my mind of that water glass falling. Although many years had passed, I had never really forgiven myself for that day. And then, the summer before our senior year, we got the best news. Olivia was eligible for an experimental heart treatment program, one that gave her a real chance at finally having a normal life. I ran over to her house to celebrate with her, but when I found her in her room, she didn't seem excited at all. She was lying on her bed, staring at the ceiling. Shouldn't you be packing? It's in California, Genevieve, and I have to stay there for 6 months. I'll miss almost all of senior year, but it's so worth it. It's not guaranteed. They said 50% success rate. That's better than 0, right? Right. What's going on, Olivia? There's something else. She looked at me, then with this faraway gaze in her eyes. Do you believe in love at first sight? Sure, I guess. But what does that have to do with your treatment? I met someone, Genevieve, and I think he could be the one. She started to tell me about earlier that day when her parents took her to her favorite cafe to celebrate. There was a new boy working there, and when their eyes met, I felt this wave rush over me. I had to look away to keep my heart from racing. She noticed that he was paying special attention to their table. At the end of the meal, she decided to finally do something bold and told her parents she would walk home, that she wanted to enjoy some time to herself before packing. That's when he came over and sat across the table. Genevieve, it was unlike anything I have ever experienced in my life. He just moved here with his mom and he was working during the summer before school starts. And he's going to our school. That's great, Olivia. You don't understand. I was so caught up in the moment that I never even told him my name, never exchanged numbers. I got all the way home before I realized. All I remember is his name tag, Marcus. And now I have to leave, and it's all happening too fast. It's okay. It'll be okay. We can figure this out together. But you have to go to California. Will you do something for me? Of course, anything. Will you find him at school? Get to know him. Tell me everything. So when you come back, it'll be perfect. Olivia left for California, and soon it was time to start school again. I wanted to learn more about Olivia's crush, but deep down, I was most excited because I was taking a film class as my senior elective. Ever since my parents bought me that camcorder for my 11th birthday, I was always thinking about movies, writing scripts, filming interesting things that I saw, and interviewing my friends. Now, I finally got to learn the techniques in the craft in a class that only seniors could apply to get into. As a bonus, it was the last class of the day. I was listening to my teacher lecture about scene composition when I heard a whisper beside me. Hey, yes? My friend and I already have a short movie planned out, and we need a girl lead. Want to join? I'm more of a director. Please? If you quit talking to me, then fine. Great. A few minutes later, he was back again. Hey. What? My name's Jacob. Great. What's yours? I finally took a moment to turn and look at him. And when I did, well, maybe Olivia was right about love. He was impossibly handsome. Dark brown hair, emerald eyes that pulled me in, like I was being truly seen for the first time. Genevieve. He smiled at me, and I forgot the rest of the lecture. After class, he waited for me outside and introduced me to his friend. This is Marcus. I could see why Olivia would fall for him. He was tall and confident, and when he smiled, I found myself smiling. He had a way of putting people at ease, as I would discover, a calming presence that would be perfect for Olivia. That semester, the three of us went everywhere together. At first, it was just to work on our film project. But even after we finished the first movie, we would eat lunch in the cafeteria, hang out after school, study together, and the whole time, I was learning everything I could about Marcus. At night, I would go home and send messages to Olivia, describing him and how perfect they would be together. And of course, telling her how much I missed her. I didn't tell her about Jacob. At the time, I wasn't sure what to say. She was pretty weak from the treatment at first, but soon she began to recover. It seemed as though the treatment was going to be a success after all. Before I knew it, she was talking about getting ready to come home. She told me the good news over the phone. I'll be home just in time for winter break.
Why is it your grocery order arrives the second you remember everything you forgot to order? Like, without fail.
Who drank all the milk?
Fresh groceries and unlimited free delivery.
Will you pause it real quick? Just sold the car to Carvana.
There is so much we have to discuss. I guess I shouldn't have been so surprised when the day before winter break, Jacob stopped me after school. So, how long have you been in love with Marcus? Excuse me? You think I don't notice the way you talk to him? The other day, you asked him to describe his perfect date night, and I could have sworn I saw you scribbling it down in your notebook, pretending you were doing the science homework. What can I say? I take an interest in other people. It makes me a better filmmaker. Why don't you ask me those questions then? Fine. What's your perfect date night? Why don't I show you? That Friday night, Jacob met me in the small cafe downtown for dinner. It was incredible to see him all dressed up, and as we sat together in the warm cafe, safe from the dark and cold night outside, I realized that even though he seemed confident and charming, he was nervous. He talked a lot more than usual, and his words ran together all in a breath. I love coming here. It belongs to Marcus and his family, and so I come here all the time, and I hope you like it too, but if you don't, then we can probably just find another place. It's just that you said to describe the perfect date, and I saw this place in my mind, and even last summer I used to… Jacob. Yes? You don't have to be nervous around me. Nervous? Who's nervous? I like you. Really? Because every time you talk, it's about Marcus. We aren't talking about him now, are we? He smiled that perfect, gorgeous smile. No, we're not. After dinner, he walked me home, wrapping his arm around me to keep me warm. I could have lived in that moment forever. With the soft glow of the streetlights and the quiet homes, we reached my house and stood on the porch. I had a wonderful time, Jacob. And about Marcus, there is something I need to tell you. First, I need to tell you something. I am falling for you, Genevieve. I have fallen for you. The truth is, we could have gone anywhere, and it would have been the perfect date. All I needed was you. He pulled me in and kissed me. We didn't even hear the front door open. Surprise! I couldn't believe it. There she was, home again. My best friend. I cried and reached out my arms. Olivia, I can't believe you're here. But that's when I noticed she was staring at Jacob, and then at me. Her arms dropped. What is this? Oh, of course, this is… But before I could get the words out, Jacob spoke first. It's you. It's me. I never thought I would see you again. Clearly. Wait, do you know each other? Come on, Genevieve. Don't treat me like I'm stupid. I ask you to get to know Marcus, and then you go and date him? Marcus? I can explain. That day in the cafe, I was new on the job. I didn't have my uniform yet. Marcus let me borrow his. So you're not… I'm Jacob. And now you two… Olivia, I'm so sorry. I didn't know. It's fine. But she didn't finish her thought. She suddenly burst into tears and ran from my house. I'm sorry. I should have told you. I wanted to. I need to go. The winter break and spring semester were a blur. I didn't know what to say to Jacob anymore. Everything seemed to have gone so wrong. Without meaning to, I had hurt my best friend again. She didn't return to school in the spring, and her parents said that it would be best if she completed high school at home while she was still recovering. I stopped by so many times after school to check on her, but each time her mother answered the door telling me that Olivia wasn't up to seeing visitors today. That's what I had become, a visitor, a stranger in her home. Walking away, I looked at her second-story bedroom window and saw the curtain slowly close. I buried myself in my work, getting good grades, and even getting accepted into film school after I graduated. I learned that Jacob would be going to the same school, but things were not the same between us. We hardly spoke and mostly kept our distance. Then, it was summer again. One day, there was a knock at my door. To my complete astonishment, it was Olivia. I am so sorry, Olivia. No, this time, I need to apologize. That day, she told me everything about the treatment program, about her recovery, about how it felt to see me together with Jacob. She felt abandoned and alone, like her life had stopped moving after she returned to California, but everyone else's had kept going. But then she started taking walks in the evening, always going the same way, always stopping by the cafe, half hoping and half dreading that she would run into Jacob. That's when I met Marcus, the real Marcus. They had started talking every night. She realized that although she had shared a perfect night with Jacob, it was Marcus that she was falling for. Everything I had told her about him and all the conversations they had, they just fit together perfectly. Maybe it wasn't love at first sight, but I believe now that there are so many different ways to fall in love. It's not always going to be like the movies. So, you don't hate me? Of course I don't hate you. I was angry with you. And then I needed to spend some time away from you. Not because I hate you, but because I had to learn how to live with myself, how to stand up for what I want. Our whole lives, you've been there for me, and I love you for that. But I can't ask you to do that forever. It's not fair to either of us. She was right. And for the first time, she didn't seem fragile to me, breakable. She was strong and confident and at peace. I went away to film school and reconnected with Jacob, and Olivia and Marcus stayed close to home and attended the local university, meeting up at the cafe every night to study and talk. After college, she was the maid of honor at my wedding, and I was at hers when she and Marcus said I do. It was a long road, but Olivia got the ending she deserves, and the perfect man to take care of her beautiful, unbreakable heart. And as for Jacob and me, our story was always a love story. And even though we are older now and our 2 kids have left the house to start lives of their own, we continue to add new chapters, new scenes, to the best movie we could have possibly made.